Hello, and welcome to Dark Souls Remastered. Today I'm going to showcase the collection of all the achievements in the game. There are 41 total achievements, but the last one is simply for getting all the other achievements, so really there are only 40. I will break this video down into two main parts. The first part being the main game and any optional bosses that grant achievements. The second part will contain all the miscellaneous achievements, which include the Covenants, all the different spell collections, all the weapon upgrades, and finally Knight's Honour, which is for collecting a bunch of unique weapons and will take the most time to complete. So without further ado, let's get started. To start the game, we are locked away in the Undead Asylum, when, unexpectedly, a corpse is thrown down into our jail cell containing the key to our escape. Once getting out of the cell and heading up a ladder, we encounter our first bonfire. After lighting the bonfire, we gain our very first achievement. We can then skip past the Asylum Demon and rush our way to Oscar to get another key and the Estus Flask, giving us our second achievement. Once we have our main healing item and an actual weapon, we can return to the Asylum Demon to kill it and gain our freedom. After a short walk out of the asylum, a large, rather helpful raven grabs us and drops us off in Lordran, granting the Reach Lordran achievement and signalling the end of the tutorial. Now that we are in Lordran, there are two main tasks to complete. The first being to ring the Bell of Awakening that is located in the Undead Parish, hidden behind the Bell Gargoyles. The second being to ring the Bell of Awakening behind Quelaag down in Blighttown. First things first, I need to get a good weapon to complete the game with. For this run, I chose to use the Uchigatana, which drops off of the Undead Merchant. This is a great weapon in the early game, as well as in the late game, since when upgraded, it gains an A scaling in dexterity. With my new weapon, I ploughed through the Taurus Demon, crossed the bridge with the Hellkite Drake, and made my way to the Bell Tower. During this journey I came across Solaire, who after speaking to, would now help for certain boss fights. This is important for later, as each time he is summoned, as long as he survives the fight, he will give us Sunlight Medal, which is a currency we will use later on. Once reaching the fog gate for the Bell Gargoyles, I summoned Solaire and entered. This is a fairly simple fight, especially with Solaire's help. The only notable thing about the fight is that we need to cut off the first gargoyle's tail to get a weapon. This becomes a running theme for any boss with a tail, as these weapons are needed for Knight's Honour. Once defeating the gargoyles, climbing the tower, and ringing the bell, we gain another achievement. With the first bell being rung, it is time for the second. There are two ways to get down to Blighttown. The first being going through the depths, and the second by using the Master Key in New Londo Ruins to go through what should be the exit. Since this is the first run, and I need to get the large ember, I'm going to have to go through the depths, at least until I get the ember. Before heading down, I make a quick detour to kill the Moonlight Butterfly to get its boss soul. With that done, it was time to head for the depths. I collected the basement key from in front of the Undead Church, went back to the locked door on the Hellkite Drake's bridge, and headed down the extremely long ladder. This leads to the Capra Demon, who drops the key to the depths. I worked my way through the depths, picking up the large ember, and also killing the Gaping Dragon. Once again, I cut off his tail and attempted to have Solaire fight with me. However, he managed to die right at the end of the fight, meaning I got no Sunlight Medal. With this, you'd assume the sidetracking would be over. You'd be wrong. I then went back to the Undead Asylum for 3 items. The first being the Titanite Slab, dropped by the Stray Demon. The second being the Peculiar Doll, found in our original cell. We're going to need this later on. And thirdly, the Rusted Iron Ring, which will be of great use in the Blighttown Poison Swamp. With all the distractions out of the way, I headed to Blighttown through the New Londo shortcut. I grabbed the bonfire at the bottom, and went straight for Quelaag. After dealing with her, the bell was rung, our next achievement was granted, and the way to Sen's Fortress was open. Before heading back up to the surface to Sen's Fortress, I first made a quick detour to kill Ceaseless Discharge. With him killed, we can return back to the Undead Burg and enter Sen's Fortress. While here there are a few things we want to do. There are 2 quest lines within here that we need to do. However, I saved these for my second playthrough. So the only things that we actually need from here are the covetous gold serpent ring, found behind a breakable wall. This was pretty much used for the rest of the run, as the increased drop chance is extremely useful. And the lightning spear, found within a mimic. We will use this later for an upgrade achievement. Now with both of these items collected, there's nothing stopping us from killing the Iron Golem and heading to Anor Londo. For our first time in Anor Londo, we have one main goal, and that is to kill Ornstein and Smough. So after passing over the rafters, up the large stairs, and past the Silver Knight archers, we reach the closest bonfire to this boss. While here, there are 2 items we want to collect. First, there is a chest in the room opposite the bonfire, which contains 3 sunlight medals. And second, is the occult club. This is found from a mimic in a room hidden behind an illusionary wall. This club has a couple of purposes. The first being, we can reset it to a +5 divine club that we can use later in a boss fight, and the other is that it can be used for a couple of upgrade achievements. With these done, we can now move on to Ornstein and Smough. This is the first serious boss in the game, and even after beating it numerous times, I can still die if I get complacent. I focus down Ornstein first, as he is the more aggressive boss out of the 2, and is normally easier to get hits in on. With him dead, the powered up Smough falls, and we can continue past them, up the left, and speak to Guinevere to get the Lord Vessel, granting another achievement, the ability to teleport between certain bonfires, and once placed outside of the kiln, the last few areas of the game open up. With the Lord Vessel placed, we now have access to the 4 bosses containing Lord Souls. The first one I'm choosing to go after is the Bed of Chaos. To be able to get down to the Bed of Chaos, we first must defeat a couple of bosses. Heading back through Blighttown and Quelaag's domain, we reach the Demon Ruins. Passing by a few Capra demons and Taurus demons leads us to the Demon Fire Sage, another Asylum demon reskin. Once killed, the way to our next boss, Centipede Demon, opens up. These 2 bosses are fairly straightforward and shouldn't cause much bother. With the Centipede dead, we now have the orange charred ring, letting us walk on lava with minimal damage. We can now enter Lost Isla. When I first went through the lava, I entirely forgot the path to avoid the dragon butts, so I had half the arena chasing me. Even with this hindrance, I still made it to the hidden bonfire and was ready to make the run to the Bed of Chaos. Little did I know that it wouldn't be the one run to the Bed of Chaos I was going to make, but 8. This boss, as usual, kicked my ass. I decided before fighting the boss that I wasn't going to cheese it with a bow and firebombs. Actually at this point I didn't even have a bow. Because of this, and with how long ago I actually fought it, I chose to break the left side of the boss first. A big mistake, as it is far easier to get the left side once the right side is broken than it is to get to the right side if the left is broken first. All in all, I hate this boss, but hearing the achievement pop once it was dead does lighten my mood. The next main boss I chose to kill was Gravelord Nito. In order to get to him we have to travel through the catacombs and the Tomb of the Giants. While going through the catacombs there are a couple of items of note. The first being the Darkmoon Seance Ring, we will need this for our future covenant, and the second being a drop of 3 Eyes of Death, which again we need for another covenant. Both these items are roughly halfway down the catacombs, the ring being located inside a tomb behind a breakable wall, and the Eyes of Death behind a Titanite demon. With these collected, we can move on to the easiest boss in the game, Pinwheel. He pretty much falls over as he has next to no health, but with him dead, we get the Rite of Kindling, which allows us to finally get 20 Estus flasks. After this, we move on to the Tomb of the Giants. If you're lucky enough to have a skull lantern from one of the necromancers, this is the time to use it. If not, one can be found in the pit that Patches kicks you into. After quickly running through the tomb, we arrive at Gravelord Nito's room. Now is also the time to equip the +5 Divine Club we collected earlier, as in this fight there are many skeletons that keep respawning if they're killed. However, if killed with a divine weapon, they stay dead for good. To make this fight easy, I wait for Nito to approach me, I quickly kill off the skeletons that approach before Nito arrives. I don't run around the arena too much either, as there are more skeletons at the back which don't initially aggro. Once he gets close, the only ability to worry about is his AoE attack. I choose to block this as to not risk running away and aggroing more enemies. With him dead, we claim another one of the Lord Souls. The four kings are up next, but before we go to them, we first need to get the Covenant of Artorias, which is held by Great Grey Wolf Sith. Sith is located in Darkroot Guarding. The easiest way for us to get there is to buy the Crest of Artorias from Andre and open the large door a little way into the garden. Running through here we can reach another large door across a bridge. Behind this door is Sith. With Sith dead, we get the Covenant of Artorias and are ready to fight the four kings. Heading down through New Londo and past a lot of spooky ghosts, we can reach Ingward. He will give us the key to the seal, which allows us to drain New Londo of all the water submerging it. Once drained, we could ride the elevator down and prepare to fight a lot of dark wraiths. While here, we can also pick up the very large Ember, which allows us to fully upgrade regular weapons to plus 15. The Four Kings is a serious challenge, as if you don't kill them fast enough, more will spawn, so I do recommend returning to Andre and upgrading before fighting them. But of course, I didn't do that, and had a miserable time with at least 2 and sometimes 3 kings alive at once. This didn't stop me from one-shotting them, claiming the second last Lord Soul. The final of the four lords is Seath the Scaleless. He is found deep in the Crystal Caves, through the back of the Duke's archives. After working our way through the initial section, we come across the first and only scripted death. Walking through the fog gate, we come up against an unkillable Seath. After he kills us, we end up in a jail cell. Once escaping the jail, and re-entering the archives, we come across the moving staircases. After a little running around and spinning of the staircases, we can find a lever opening a bookshelf and giving us a bonfire. There is one important item in the next room, and that is the enchanted falchion, which is inside a mimic. Make sure to grab this for later. After getting out of the archives, and navigating the invisible walkways in the crystal caves, we reach Seath. The only thing to note about this fight is that we need to cut off his tail. This is definitely the most annoying tail to cut, as he always turns around just as you get to it. With his tail cut, we can quickly finish him off, giving us our final Lord Soul and opening the way to Gwyn. There are only 2 loose ends to tie up before killing Gwyn, and starting the second playthrough. Them being Gwendolyn and Priscilla. Starting off with Priscilla, we must travel to the large painting in the cathedral. With the peculiar doll in our inventory, we can interact with the painting, sending us to the painted world of Ariamis. After rushing through the area, we find a non-hostile Priscilla. Unfortunately, she needs to die, because we need her soul, to cut off her tail, and the achievement for doing so. With her dead, that leaves Gwendolyn. Travelling down to the bonfire in a room connected to the spinning lift, we can find a large statue of Gwyn. Equipping the Darkmoon Seance Ring will cause this statue to disappear, revealing the boss door. You can also kill Guinevere to make this statue disappear. He's a fairly simple boss. Just hide behind the pillar when he casts the small tracking orbs, roll through the large blasts, and run diagonally across him when he uses his bow. Killing him gives us our last achievement before killing Gwyn. Speaking of which, now is the time we sorted him out. Heading back to the Lord Vessel and depositing the Lord Souls, the path into the kiln of the First Flame opens. Running through his gauntlet of Black Knights, we reach his fog door, and I hope you know how to parry, as it is the simplest way of beating him. Once dead, we have the choice of 2 endings, either linking the fire, or walking out and ushering in the dark. Both of these endings grant achievements, so make sure to do 2 different endings on the 2 times that we kill him. For my first ending, I chose to link the fire. For our second playthrough, we will get every other achievement except for Knight's Honour. First up is the Covenants. A lot of these are very easy to find, with a few being a bit more tricky. First, the Way of White can be joined by speaking to Petrus and Firelink. Chaos Servant can be joined by speaking to Quaelag's sister behind an illusionary wall after her boss fight. The Princess Guard is joined by speaking to Guinevere after receiving the Lord Vessel from her. Forest Hunter is found by speaking to Alvina in the Darkroot Garden. Now for a few of the more tricky ones. Gravelord 7 is found by resting in a coffin in the catacombs, next to the Titanite demon. Make sure to have at least one Eye of Death in your inventory to be moved. Once taken, you will arrive in Nito's tomb. Speak to him and join the Covenant. Warrior of Sunlight is found at the Sunlight Altar beneath the Hellkite Drake. You require 25 faith in order to interact with the altar and join the Covenant. Blade of the Dark Moon is found by speaking with Gwendolyn in front of his fog gate. It is important to note that you can only speak to him if you have used the Dark Moon Seance Ring to remove the statue of Gwen. Next is the Path of the Dragon. At the bottom of Blighttown, behind two illusionary walls, you can find the Great Hollow. Traversing through here leads to Ash Lake, and at the far end of the lake is an everlasting dragon. Speak to him to join the Covenant, and also don't forget to cut off his tail. Finally, there is a Darkwraith Covenant. Once you have the Lord Vessel, it is important that you don't speak to Frampt in Firelink Shrine. You must head straight for the Four Kings, as once you kill them, Kath will spawn, and take you to the kiln instead. When he returns you to the Abyss after placing the Lord Vessel, you can speak to him and join the Darkwraiths. Next up, we have all the achievements related to upgrading weapons. There are 10 in total. Before we do any upgrades, it is important to know where to get the upgrade materials from. For Titanite Shards, Large Titanite Shards, and Green Titanite Shards, these can all be bought from the Giant Blacksmith in Anor Londo. When it comes to chunks of any colour, they can be farmed from the respawning Black Knights in the kiln. Each is a guaranteed drop when killed. Finally, there are the Titanite Slabs. For regular Titanite Slabs, we require 3 of them. One is dropped by the Stray Demon in the Undead Asylum, and the other that I got in my playthrough was from the chest in Calamead's Arena under the waterfall. For all the coloured slabs we require 2 each. The white slab can be found outside of Nito's boss room, in a hidden passage just off to the left. The blue slab is found in the crystal caves at the end of an invisible path. This one is a little tricky, as it zigzags. I chose to wing it by watching where the falling crystals were landing, but you could use prism stones to see where the surface is. The red slab is found near the Bed of Chaos. Down the ramp before the boss door, there is an area that falls away when you stand on it. Looking back, you can fall down again into the poison water, and at the end of the hallway is a chest containing the slab. With the upgrade materials collected, we can start the first set of upgrades. The first ones we will do will be the ones using the regular Titanite. These are regular weapon, raw weapon, lightning weapon, and crystal weapon. All these upgrades can be done at Andre. For the embers, we require the large ember from the depths, and the very large ember from New Londo. Hand both these to Andre. Simply upgrade any weapon to plus 15 to start. Raw weapon needs a plus 5 regular weapon, then change it to raw and upgrade it to plus 5. For lightning weapon, use the lightning spear found in Sen's Fortress and upgrade that to plus 5. For crystal weapon, grab the crystal halberd from a mimic in Anor Londo and upgrade it to plus 5. Next is the divine and occult weapons. For this we will use the occult club from Anor Londo. First, we need to get a hold of the large divine ember from the Tomb of the Giants. This is found in a tomb off to the right off of the main bonfire. The room is filled with large skeletons, so I simply crossed my fingers and went as fast as I could to get the ember. Give this to Andre and upgrade the occult club to plus 5. And the divine club to plus 10. For magic and enchanted, we will make use of the enchanted falchion found in the Duke's archives. To upgrade the magic weapon, we require the large magic ember. We can find this in the first room we encounter Seath. After he has been killed, a chest will spawn with the ember inside of it. We need to give this ember to Rickert in New Londo. Then we can upgrade both the magic weapon to plus 10 and the enchanted weapon to plus 5. Fire and Chaos are the last of the weapon upgrades we need to do. Unlike the previous affinity upgrades, there are no weapon drops in affinity already applied which could help us in these upgrades. First, we need to get 2 embers. The large flame ember can be found outside of Demon Fire Sage's boss room. Just to the left before going up the stairs, there is a couple of Taurus demons guarding a walkway. Along the walkway is multiple centipedes, and at the end is a chest with the ember. Next is the Chaos Flame Ember. This is found in the demon ruins in a pool of lava, guarded by lots of Taurus demons. Don't forget to put on the orange charred ring to survive the lava. Give both of these embers to Vamos, the undead blacksmith, found in the catacombs. We will need to upgrade any 2 regular weapons to +5, then both to +5 fire, and finally, one to +10 fire and the other to +5 chaos. Now getting into the spell section, we will start with the sorceries, of which there are 24 in total. We have 4 vendors to buy spells from. The first is Griggs. We need to get the residence key from the undead merchant. With this, we can unlock the door in the lower undead burg where Griggs is trapped. This will make him relocate to Firelink, and with an intelligence level of at least 10, he will sell you spells. Buy Oral Decoy and Fall Control from him. Also, I chose to kill him at the end of my first playthrough to get the Hush sorcery. Next is Big Hat Logan. He must be let out of a cage in Sen's fortress, after which he'll move to Firelink and in a jail cell in the Duke's archives. Either free him using the Archive Tower giant cell key, or kill Seath, after which he will move to the end of the archives. Once in this location, buy all his sorceries. This will cause him to go mad and move back to the original room you fought Seath. Kill him here to get White Dragon Breath. The third vendor is Dusk. You must kill the Hydra in Darkroot Basin. This causes a golden golem to spawn nearby. Kill this golem to free Dusk. After speaking to her, a summon sign will appear near where the Hydra was. Summon Dusk and purchase all her sorceries. The final vendor is Ingward, the man who gives us the key to the seal. Purchase Resist Curse from him. This leaves 3 sorceries for us to pick up in the world. Remedy is found in a chest in Blighttown near the second water wheel across a branch bridge. Strong Magic Shield is found in a chest in the archives in the spinning staircase room. Finally, Great Magic Weapon is found in the chandelier in Anor Londo. It must be cut down from the rafters and looted below in the room containing the painting of Ariamis. Next, we will collect all the Pyromancies, which there are 19. We have 3 vendors to buy from. First, we need to rescue Laurentius from the depths. He's somehow stuck inside of a barrel. After being rescued, he will move to Firelink. When in Firelink, buy both Iron Flesh and Flash Sweat from him. Also, upgrade a Pyromancy Flame to +10. With the Pyromancy Flame at +10, this will cause Quailana to spawn at the bottom of Blighttown. Buy everything from her, and also speak with her after killing the Bed of Chaos to get Fire Tempest. Lastly, there is Engi, who is found next to Quailag's dying sister. To be able to buy Pyromancies from him, you first must have an Egghead. This can be done by getting an Egg Bearer to grab you. After around 5 minutes, an egg will appear on your head, allowing you to speak to Engi. Buy Toxic Mist and Poison Mist from him. There are 4 drops we need to collect. Power Within is found in Blighttown, beneath the massive squid. Chaos Fire Whip is found in a chest next to the Bed of Chaos Foggate. Acid Surge is found in a corpse in the Painted World, near where you're invaded by King Jeremiah. And Fire Surge is dropped by an engorged zombie, found in a room after the well in the Painted World. The last 2 Pyromancies are from the Chaos 7 Covenant. One is for joining the Covenant, and the other is for donating 30 humanities. The last set of spells to collect are Miracles. There are 23 in total. There are 2 vendors to purchase from. The first is Oswald, who spawns in the Bell Tower after ringing the first Bell of Awakening. Buy Karmic Justice from him. Next is Rhea. She will get trapped in the Tomb of the Giants and need rescuing. She is in a pit that Patches kicks you into. Once in the pit, kill both her hollowed bodyguards and speak to her to get replenishment. Once saved, she will move to the Undead Parish Church, buy all her miracles. Next, we need to do part of Siegmeyer's questline. First, we need to move the boulder pushing machine in Sen's fortress so that Siegmeyer can get up the ramp. Next, he will move to Anorlondo and be stuck behind a room full of silver knights. Kill all the knights and he will move to Firelink. Speak with him here to get Emit Force. The next 6 miracles are from drops. Soothing Sunlight and Bountiful Sunlight are both dropped by a pair of snakes next to Big Hat Logan's cage in the archives. Great Magic Barrier is found in Ash Lake. There is a small drop when walking up the hollow. Fall down this and follow the path up to the miracle. Sunlight Blade is in a chest after killing Gwendolyn. Tranquil Walk of Peace is found in the catacombs near the Darkmoon Seance Ring. It is up a rather sneaky ladder. Vow of Silence is found in the Painted World using the Annex key in the church. It is located at the top of the tower next to 4 crow demons. The final 6 are all from covenants. 2 are from the Gravelord's Servant Covenant, 1 for joining, and another for handing in 10 Eyes of Death. These can be found from basilisks. Darkmoon Blade is from the Blade of the Darkmoon Covenant after handing in 10 Souvenirs of Reprisal. These can be farmed from crow demons in the Painted World. And the final 3 are from the Warrior of Sunlight Covenant. 1 for joining, 1 for handing in 10 Sunlight Medals, and 1 for handing in the Soul of Gwen. Sunlight Medals can be farmed from Chaos Bugs and the Demon Runes, and the Soul of Gwen can only be handed in after 10 Sunlight Medals have been handed in. The final achievement is Knight's Honour. There is a ton of weapons to collect for this one. I am not going to cover all the pickups, but in the description I have linked the True Achievements guide that I used. I only needed a couple of the pickups after my first 2 playthroughs. There are still a few notable drops I will list. First is the Black Knight weapons. I got all of these after farming the Titanite chunks for the weapon upgrades. The Silver Knight weapons took me the longest as the spear just wouldn't drop. Before I finished my second playthrough, I prepared all the weapons that were going to be made into boss weapons in my third playthrough. Here is a list of weapons that are required for the boss weapons. Note that all of these need to be upgraded to plus 10 except for the catalyst. We need 2 spears, 2 shields, 1 katana, 1 falchion, 2 straight swords, 1 broken straight sword, 1 axe, 1 fist weapon, 1 halberd, 1 hammer, 1 bow, and 1 catalyst. The boss souls that we need are 2 Moonlight Butterfly souls, 2 Quelaag souls, 2 Iron Golem souls, 1 soul of Ornstein and another of Smo, 3 souls of Sif, 2 souls of Gwendolyn, 1 soul of Priscilla, and 1 soul of Gwen. Take all of the weapons and the souls to the giant blacksmith in Anorlondo, who will make these into the weapons for you. And with that, the final 2 achievements are done, and Dark Souls Remastered is completed. Thank you very much for watching this video through to the end. This is my first attempt at making a full YouTube video, so any advice or feedback would be greatly appreciated. This completion was genuinely a lot of fun for me. I have played Dark Souls 1 for many hundreds of hours, and never once went for all the achievements, so finally after all these years getting the completion done feels great. I am sure to continue on to more of the FromSoft games as I work on more full game completions in the future.